congratulations on the movie.
Thank you.
It is difficult to even imagine a film any bigger than this because the scope is insane.
Yeah.
One of the things I did hear in the lead up was that you said, kind of compared, the first Godzilla was Alien and this one is Aliens.
Yes.
Now, as someone whose favourite film of all time is Aliens,
I'm with you.
can you expand on that a little bit? Because that, like, the second I heard that, I was like, oh, he's got my attention immediately.
Well, I mean, I would never compare it in terms of quality, only because to me, Aliens can't be rivaled.
Sure.
It's my favorite film of all time. Just by mentioning it makes me want to watch it right now, you know. But I'm talking about in terms of scale. The first film was almost a quiet, meditative movie, focusing more on suspense and shadow and the threat of the singular creature. And then Cameron turned up the volume and added new creatures, expanded on the lore of the alien, increased the action, increased the human, the human element. So he just sort of took the more is more approach, and I really love that. You know, as much as I loved Alien, and continue to love Alien, Aliens is the one that I keep returning to.
Yeah, me too. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
One of the things I think that like modern blockbusters has leveled against it is the idea of destruction porn, where it's like, oh, it's another case of a building falling over and countless people being killed and blah, 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 we're moving on. And one of the things I have to congratulate you on this movie is that it was so beautiful to look at during the action sequences that that wasn't a concern for me. I was like, okay, he's doing this completely differently to how it's been seen before. How did you initially want to tackle, because it is Godzilla, buildings are going to fall over.
Yeah.
How did you want to tackle like scenes like that you knew you're like, we're going to make this different to what everyone has seen before?
I mean, that was hugely important to me because I was very conscious of the fact that we're dealing with 65 plus years of Godzilla films. I think, over 30 Godzilla movies. And sometimes it feels like, okay, what can you possibly bring to the table that's new and fresh, when you have that many predecessors. So I went back and revisited the classic movies, looked at the destruction, not just in those films, but in more recent blockbuster movies where they show, buildings toppling and everything else, and just try to figure out, like, okay, what can we do that's fresh and different, and try to take a more biblical approach to the destruction. So it's not like we're just watching, infrastructure being destroyed, but something almost apocalyptic and religious to it, and strangely beautiful at the same time. There's a great movie called Baraka, and Koyaanisqatsi, and these documentaries that feature sort of a man versus nature component, and they show buildings imploding or being demolished, and there's an eerie, beautiful quality to that. So try to capture some of that, but with giant monsters.
Sure, well, that's what makes the difference. When it came to King Ghidorah, it was fantastically realized, but I didn't realize watching it that it was actually mo-captured actors acting out some of the scenes.
Well, kinda. The bulk of the work for all the creatures was done by our very talented visual effects animators.
Right.
And for certain scenes and very specific moments, I would want to sort of amplify the creatures' personalities.
Right.
To see them, feeling them thinking. And so that's when we did some performance capture to sort of assist and inspire the animators a little bit. I mean, this technique going back to the old Disney movies. And so for key moments where I wanted Godzilla and Ghidorah to have a slight human quality, whether it's in their facial expressions or in the body language, we would do a little performance capture.
Right. I think it worked fantastically well because I thought Ghidorah was amazing. One final question, because I hung around for the post-credit scene because I was anticipating one, and it did arrive. In what happens in that post-credit scene, is that something we can anticipate to kind of lead directly into next year's movie? Because I know you have a hand in writing that screenplay as well. Is that kind of the primary thrust of what we should expect, or no?
What you see transpire in the post-credit scene definitely pays off in Godzilla vs. Kong. That
was very politically phrased. I enjoy it. Nice and vague. And vague. Mike, thanks so much.
Thank you.
out of your goddamn mind!
I am sorry, but this is the only way.
You're a monster. I'm sorry.
Long live the king.